Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
the
The aftermath.
the aftermath. I tell
The
you, man.
aftermath, man. The aftermath, 31, 29. Yeah, we're going to talk some 71 and 13 as well.
Yeah,
We're definitely going to do that. We're definitely going to do that. Get them likes and get them shares up. CFO Gang's in the building. Star Gang's in the building. It's your guy,
what's going on,
Nix.
fam?
It's J Tuck. I don't even care about these last 7 seconds. Get it out of here. I'm ready to
Get
talk.
out of here, man. Let's
Get
go,
it out of
man.
here. Let's
Cut the
go. I'm ready
clock.
to talk.
Cut the
Yeah, I'm
clock.
ready. Let's get after it. First and foremost, how did Raymond James treat you, brother?
Huh?
I said, how did Raymond James Stadium treat you,
Yeah,
brother?
man. Raymond James was a nice stadium. Actually, the Bucs fans were A1, man. They, very hospitable during the tailgate and even during the game. Because I sat like me and SoFlo, salute to my guy SoFlo. We sat right in the heart of Bucs country, man. So we were surrounded by a bunch of Bucs fans, man. But it was all fun. It's like it wasn't a hostile environment where
Right,
we
right.
felt a certain way. We had fun. And the very first thing I told them before the game started, because they were kind of, they had their fireworks and their banners and that whole thing. I'm like, hey, congratulations on all that. I appreciate you,
Yeah, yeah.
salute you. But it's 2021 now, and we ain't Kansas City. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, you're not Kansas City. You're worse than Kansas City. I was like, bro, we are not Kansas City, and you're about to find that out, man. So we about to dive into that whole combo. But yeah, it was a good time at Raymond James, man. Now I say this: the Yankees practice facility across the street
Oh,
is a
yeah.
much nicer facility than Raymond James. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally walk across the street and you have this luxury practice facility, and Raymond James is kind of high school, colleges type stadium. I'm like, damn,
Yeah. It's been
Steinbrenner
around
put
a
up those
while.
dollars. Yeah, it has,
Yeah,
man.
it's been
So,
around
but
a while. So yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Jessica Hager's in the building. My boy Cologne from Puerto Rico. Our guy Cologne from Puerto Rico. No 151 so far. I hope my guy
yeah,
Mendoza's in the building. Pete Prescott.
what's up,
Michelle's in the
Michelle?
building. Let me see who else is in here real quick. I saw somebody else. Burleson's in the building. Mark Kenner as always. Yeah, man. Man, ooh, a lot to dive into today,
A
right?
lot.
There's a lot of stuff that's happened today for sure. I got Nick's in the building, and then of course the game as well. So, Tuck, where you want to start? You want to start with the news of the day? You want to go through the game? What do you want to do?
Let's start with the news today. Let's get that over with,
All
man, because
right,
I feel
let's get
like
it
there's a
over with.
lot to
So,
dive in when it comes to this game.
yeah, so we'll start with Gallup. And
Okay.
if we watched the game, we knew. I mean, just stayed cooking, even though Gallup missed the majority of the second half. Uh, Calf strain,
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 weeks. But we kind of know him and Sid Wilson have a pretty good connection. So
Right.
not ideal. He's kind
Right.
of our jump ball guy per se. But
Mhm.
how does it make you feel? I mean, knowing that you do at least have Sid Wilson there, Tuck.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. Now, granted, we want Michael Gallup out there by any means necessary, but if he's nicked up, I feel like the wide receiver position, because we spoke about this even going into the final 53, like we had so many different pieces that we could leverage in to really keep the offense afloat, with the wide receivers considered, whether that's Cedric Wilson, we have Noah Brown coming off, we still have Simi, and the list goes on and on and on. So I feel like Cedric Wilson did a great job filling in for Michael Gallup, and he'll continue to do so because he's had a great rapport with Dak Prescott. Even going to last season before Dak went down, him and Zay has always been in connection. So, I feel like, granted, as great as Michael Gallup is, Sid gives us a little bit more. Like he's kind of that,
Let's get a little
Swiss
bit more
Army
wiggle.
knife. Yeah, he's a little bit more of a Swiss Army knife when it comes to the wide receiver position. So I feel like everything is going to be just as fine with Michael Gallup out. But granted, I would like to have Michael Gallup on the field, but I feel like things will remain intact from what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and then of course, at the end of the day, and there's those right on cue. There's SoFlo right there. If y'all missed it, it might still be on Jay Tuck's. Or it's definitely on your Twitter feed. It might be on your story as well. Him and SoFlo ran a 40-yard dash, and Flo was chopping. Flo was chopping. Our guy Jonathan was chopping, and right at the tail end, my man hit like you remember what were they called, man? Slip and slides.
Yeah,
Hit
he's
all-
slick. So here's the thing about that. So before that, and I'm not going to post the video, I did a punt return challenge. And
oh,
the girl right before me, she took off like, because the ground, it was raining, so the
yeah.
ground was wet, and she tried to take off and cut. and she almost ended her life out there. And so when I did my punt return, I was like, nah, just I had jean shorts on, I was trying to get dirty. And so Slowpoke was like, let's run the 40. I'm like, I'm not gonna run the 40, Uncle. Like, let's run it. So when we ran it, he kind of took out the gate. I was like, bro, I'm just trying to, keep my feet. He was moving.
He was
and
moving.
all of a sudden, he just slide.
I tell you, hey man, I tell you what, Jonathan, that fantastic Emmitt Smith jersey you had, I hope it didn't get a lot of grass stains on it with that slide.
right. I was just trying to stay clean, man.
Right, that part. But now back to thank you for tuning in as always, brother. But back to I said Wilson, right? A little bit more wiggle. Now, Gallups kind of hey, man, and ADVD showed up last night, right? He's got that toe tag, that toe drag swag on the sidelines. He's he's definitely that, I'm sorry. He said, we good, bro. Watch it right away, my guy. That possession kind of guy, your jump ball kind of guy. Maybe an IR designation because you missed a little time IR because this is 3 to 5 weeks. We'll have to wait and down a free up a roster spot. They kind of play a little shell game with this roster if they want to do it that way. We'll just have to wait and see. The ripple effect, is that going to affect his money at the end of the year? Right. Now, granted, it's only 3 to 5 weeks, but if it's one of those things that lingers and he ends up missing 6-7 games, will that be something that affects his money? Obviously, that's kind of a long ways down the line. I'm with you, as you said, too, about said. We kind of know him and Dak have a connection. Hell, Settle even throw Dak a touchdown pass. I mean, they goes back and forth with those two guys. And then, of course, we know about Noah Brown. And then maybe Simi gets the call. We'll have to wait and see, what happens there for sure. So a little bit of a downer, but we got 4 behind center, and we can, and as I said, 4 was dealing all second half without him. So we're good to go there. The more pressing news of the day, man. So me and Spoonie was actually doing a midday recap, and this broke as it was going. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And Lale Collins. Now we got a little bit more clarity. So it's another reason why we're coming back on. Tucker's ready to rock. He had some time. It's always a good time to chill with my partner, and we can do this together. But also kind of clear up some of this because there was a lot of different things floating around there about Collins. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have an idea of what's going on with him now, right? 5 games, he's going to potentially be out, right?
Right.
He's got, so apparently he's filed 1, which was denied appeal, and he's got a second appeal to file. You got some clarity, some stuff that you read up as well, Tug, on the situation. What are you thinking about looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were, if you watch my earlier video, they're like, man, you spoke Lyle being out into existence. So, I really didn't. I just know going from the next finger to different things, I knew that there was a strong chance that Lyle could be missing some games this season, but not due to this reason. So when the news broke, originally, the Cowboys fan of me, I was thinking it was weed, and then it hit me, oh, wait, it's not weed related anymore. That's not the case. So because we're so accustomed to that. And so, even though he didn't necessarily test positive in a drug test, he was skipping. And so you have to kind of question what was the reason, whether it was something he was taking to kind of help with the injury. I don't know, but it gives a huge question mark where the NFL had decided to go ahead and suspend him for 5 games. So I think if you look at the situation, it depends. It goes on fines, 1 game, 2 games, but they hit him with the 5-game suspension. And from what I'm kind of reading, it looks like it's going to hold up, even though he might do the appeal process. And so it's going to be interesting because it leaves a huge hole in offensive line, which I'm sure we'll discuss. But with Lyle, man, and I said this on Twitter, I know we're kind of going through this and that, the COVID situation, but I don't no longer want to hear from any athlete that, oh, I took some stuff and I didn't know what's in it, because when it comes to other things, every little detail about it, and so that's no longer an excuse for me that I want to hear from Lyle. So I'm interested in kind of hear what is actually going on. But it's a huge blow. I think we're going to be okay. But here we go already with offensive line issues out the gate, man. And it's a huge, huge hurdle to kind of climb this early in the season.
Yeah, it's as Ian Rappaport reported, he had missed tests with an S, which says more than 1. Now, we don't know how many that was, but we know for sure more than 1. I guess maybe the thing that's a little convoluted here is when you look at the actual the way this is supposed to work, whether you pop a bad test or you skip tests or whatever. You look what games and how it works, and checks and game checks and stuff.
Mhm.
Nowhere anywhere in this buildup of how this rule works is there's a 5-game suspension. So it's kind of odd that, or there's not really clarity. Like, why did they say 5 games? Because nothing on the list says 5 games. So that's kind of the head scratcher. And then of course that gets Cowboys Nation and those around the world going like, well, here goes Goodell again. It's the Cowboys. It's always different for the Cowboys. And here we are. Everyone wants to bring up the Deshaun Watson thing. The one thing I do say when it comes to Watson is he's not been criminally charged. But the flip side of that coin, neither was Zeke. So,
it's like they always have some quick action when it comes to Cowboys players. Randy Gregory, okay, boom. Just but when it's everybody else, like, I'll get to it.
We'll let it play it out.
Let it play it out. Check all the facts. When it's Cowboys, it's like, I don't need to hear nothing else. Boom. So yeah, I mean, I think that was the concerning part for a lot of Cowboys fans. What really warranted a 5-game suspension, and none of us really know, because if you look at the standard of it, he hasn't reached that level yet.
Right.
But then you also got to ask on Lyell's part, bro, why are you missing the tests?
What are we talking about? And look, and I don't want to speculate. I mean, different people said different things. Whether that's how he got back in shape after the injury, maybe he was on the. Look, we're not here for that because he didn't pop a negative test. So, far be it from us. Now, it's a fair question, as you said, Tuck, that you proposed that. Why are you missing the tests, right? And of course, CJ took the words right out of my mouth. What I was going to spin to was that it's 5 games, not a game. With it being 5 games, it needs to be. Look, we already know the Cowboys are trying to get Connor McGovern on the field anyways. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is, man, and I like the fact that it happened early, not like 2-3 days before we had to go play the Chargers. It happened the day after. It's bad news, fair, but at least it happened like now. And look, Zach Martin doesn't want to play right tackle. The book is out there. People know he's not a fan of playing tackle. However, for 5 games, Zach, you've been paid, brother. I need you to go ahead and take that ride over there at right tackle for 5 games and let Connor McGovern get on here and block this to get the best 5 on the field that we can. Because, man, we talked about this going up to the season, Tuck. It was, well, we can, if one guy's going to miss a game or 2, we can kind of survive. If we lose 2, though.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, man. And like I mentioned this earlier in the vid, it's like I feel like what we saw from Connor McGovern, we have to find a way to have him on the field. Now, we already know we can already throw our idea out the water, throw it back there in the pool, Knicks. They are not going to move Connor Williams over to right tackle. So the only way to really get this done strategically, where we're going to have the best core guys out there, is move Zach Martin to right tackle and let Connor McGovern play right guard. But I think from conversations today and Mike McCarthy's interview, he said the dreaded words of Terrence Steele and Ty Nsekhe. And I'm just like, here we go, man. Here we go. Last night wasn't enough. That we believe in Terrence. He's a great guy. He's taking a leap forward. I'm just like, God dang, bro. Like, I already see it. Man. So it's like, go ahead and do it. Name Terrence Steele the starter. Let's just get this over.
Are you ready for that? Steele versus Bosa?
Yeah, put him versus Joey Bosa. Dak can get sacked 4 to 5 times, and then we'll make the adjustment.
At halftime.
Halftime. Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
April, I hear you. Look, we're just into week 1 because I'm so over this. I really am. Hey, and we got 16 more weeks of this to come.
Yeah, we
buckle up.
Last night was just the extra game.
Big facts. I got Robert shaking in. We're going to kind of talk some more about this game here in a minute, or get to the game, I should say. Was it a push off? I mean, it was a push off week 1 last year. That's all I know. Yeah. I just want consistency. Yeah, no, it was a push off last year. I'm not. Look, I don't. But I don't blame the game on that non-call though either.
Right. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
and there's a lot more that goes into it. Yeah. Big
facts. But yeah, again, if they do listen and they actually do move, Connor to right guard and kick Martin out, we're good as long as nobody else gets searched for 5 weeks. But boy, if you lose a guard or a center, or God forbid something happens at one of those tackle spots, it gets a little dark. But look, 4 played well last night underneath the pressure. They need to get the best 5 out there. I mean,
let me ask you this: should we be concerned at center? Because I know with Tyler Biadasz, we kind of centered him, the new guy, just because of the Wisconsin stamp. It wasn't good last night. I mean, it was okay.
No. Well,
it wasn't good.
I mean, the PFF numbers, Tony Pollard had a better blocking rating than he did.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, he even Terrence still has a better blocking rate than Tyler from last night compared to last year. But here's my only thing when it comes to Tyler, and here's where I'm not pressing the panic button on Tyler yet. It's only his 5th game in the league, right?
Right.
That's one. Two, he's not going to look at Vita Vea or an Ndamukong Suh pretty much for the rest of the year for the most part,
Right.
So this defensive front is not something that's every week in this league. It wasn't good. Now, to be clear, it wasn't good for him last night. Those are, it wasn't good, but I'm not pressing the panic button yet on Tyler. Are you, or where are you at with Tyler? Are you?
It's still early. It's still early, but I feel like when we saw this whole experiment thing going on in the preseason, they were seeing something too in house.
We tried to, and remember, we were like, hey, I was staunchly, especially the Arizona game, I was like, look, man, they told Connor Williams 5 minutes before basically the game, go play center. I said, something is up. They're trying to, everyone's like, oh, no, they're just trying to see if he can back up. And then he can snap the ball.
It's just for fun. They were really trying to see, like, could we possibly do this? And maybe Connor McGovern was going to move to left guard. And I feel like that's where the experiment kind of failed. So it's like, all right, we have to go with Tyler. But I feel like Tyler in the long run is going to be okay. Because like you said, Vea, he's a reason why he is who he is. Like, he's a tough matchup for a lot of centers across the league. And so, even though it wasn't just horrendous, it wasn't the best showing for Tyler Biadasz. But I think he'll start to grow and learn a lot from last night's mistakes. So,
and and look, and I'm not going to say a Brown at cornerback or whatever. I mean, again, it's only his 5th game in the league. So, again, let's give it a little bit of time and see before we just hit the panic button and think we have a supreme issue. Now, of course,
I want to say one more thing. Also, not having Zach Martin to your right side, that helps as well.
A little bit, for sure. I think the panic side of it for me is, well, who's the backup center? Like if it turns that Tyler can't, or he needs more time or whatever the case is, like, are we looking for like the rookie? I mean, are we going to go back to Connor? I can't stamp the ball. I mean, there's just kind of some of the things we have to look at. So maybe not so much Tyler, as it's just, again, the 5th game, right? And let's see how he goes. But it's like, man, if you have to make a switch via injury or something else, little ugly. So far, and hopefully while we're on tonight, nothing else happens, Tuck. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I know,
right,
man.
So,
like, bro, this is body blows today. Like, man.
So Gallup, we're missing Gallup for 3 to 5 weeks, and it looks like unless a Hail Mary happens with the second appeal, we're going to be missing La'el Collins for 5 weeks. Let's spin to the game now. Yeah. Let's get to the brass tacks. What'd you like? What you didn't like? We can start there. What'd you like? What you didn't like?
The first thing I think about when I think about last night's game is the Dak snowfall meme, where it's like, sit down, relax, and let me get us out of this like I do every time. Like, that's what it was. It was really Dak just getting us out of these jams, man. But it was great to have Ford back last night. And like I said, in my pregame earlier this week, once I saw the episode 5 of Hard Knocks, I realized Dak was locked and loaded, ready to go. But not only was he ready to go, he had the team ready to go. Because it's kind of a huge question mark, like, were we going to be ready? He had them ready, and you saw that from the very first time the team took the field. It was just a different type of energy. So Dak Prescott played well last night. As limited as people was on the offensive line, I feel like they held up, only allowing 1 sack versus that front 4. Because that's what they were really keen on last night, was being able to get pressure on Dak, to rattle him, just like they did in the Super Bowl. Our offensive line didn't allow it. I did like the game plan from Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore. Quick throws, getting our wide receivers out in space, not holding the ball too long. So they definitely planned. And, of course, for having Zach Martin out. Defensively, things look a lot better communication. Even though Tom Brady is Tom Brady, these wide receivers are their wide receivers. I felt like you saw a clear, distinguished difference from what we saw last year versus what we saw this year. It wasn't, playing around like, oh my God, whose man is this? Like, even Micah Parsons being a rookie, he was kind of in chain of command out there, getting everyone lined up. So it's rewarding to see. Now, the dark spot is that damn second corner, man. It was frustrating. I mean, me and Sofa were about to just have a damn heart attack out there, because it's like we knew this. We knew this was an issue. I mean, you and Sofa had the bet about bringing in another veteran corner.
Yeah.
And it was just like the separation between Antonio Brown and Anthony Brown was just like steps beyond steps. And I'm just like, why not address it? Why not try something different? But he was just, every time there was a big play, you saw 30 around that play.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady just quickly buoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say that Diggs did a great job on Evans, which he did, but Tom Brady had to look over there. I got this.
Yeah.
You know? And
It's like
all it was, you know, a whole lot of baby rocking on Anthony Brown's half. And then, you know, so that was the frustrating part. You know, seeing how great Maurice Kennedy was in preseason and also in camp, to get limited opportunity out there yesterday, it was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know, but they're going to have to address that second corner. And I want to say this because everyone's like, "Oh, well, we got Kelvin Joseph coming back after IR." The sad part about that, he didn't win the job in camp. Like there was, if Kelvin Joseph was fully healthy, Anthony Brown was still going to be the starter. So there's something that Dan Quinn and Witt and these guys are seeing where it's like he's not ready, right? So I feel like even if you would have probably tossed Kelvin Joseph out there last night, it wouldn't have been as much separation, but Tom Brady was going to go directly at him too. And so it's just something we definitely got to keep an eye on. And at this point of the season, I don't know how we address it because I don't think we're going to be bold enough to make a trade and bring in a guy to be our cornerback too. So we're just going to have to see.
Yeah. You know, when it comes to Anthony Brown, look, I don't really blame. I don't blame Anthony Brown. You know, and I kind of said this on the last show a little bit because I mean, boy, it was rabid about Anthony Brown in the comment section, which I'm seeing some people getting rabid about it again. But I'm like, look, if Tuck, if I know you can't swim, I know you can't swim.
Right.
And I'm like, we're on a boat and we're chilling, and I shove you into the water. It's not really on you; it's on me. And it's just really on this front. It's Stephen Willie McClay, Dan Quinn of not really addressing it. You know, something we talked about a ton was he's not really the prototype that Dan Quinn likes anyways. But here we are, and there they are. Wait, real quick. So there's maybe a little bit of news on that. So Lel Collins didn't miss a test; he declined the test. Okay, that's something a little bit different from my guy Professor O coming in with a little bit of knowledge there on that situation. Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, so then you're guilty. Yeah, so
the appeal. Yeah, the appeal's up out of here then for sure.
Right.
You know, but again, Anthony Brown. I mean, he can't swim. Look, he's in the league. You know, that's why to me, look, even like you had to walk Nashon Ryan out there last night. You're getting beat either way. At least give the rookie a chance to see. Candidate who played well in preseason. Throw him out there, give him a chance. You know, even if you want to say that he's better at the slot, okay, kick Jordan Lewis to the outside and put and then put Kennedy in there.
Because you have options. You have options.
Yeah. There was options to be had. You know, man, I'll tell you this. I love the tenacity of the defense, right? I love the tenacity of the defense. But boy, I tell you, there were times where I was like, did Mike Nolan hack the calls? Because Randy Gregory was dropping back in pass coverage.
Right. DeMarcus Lawrence.
D-Law was dropping back in pass coverage.
Right.
You know, you didn't really get Anthony Brown help until like the second half. And, you know, some of those things. And I was like, okay, now on the flip side, tenacity, causing turnovers. You love to see it. Maybe a little bit too much rotation in the first half. It seems like in the second half, they kind of calmed that down some. Interesting point. The big nickel, which, man, how much did we talk about that? Me, you, Matto, man, we kind of pounded that about Curse. The big nickel was going to happen. Definitely saw that. When they were in nickel, it was basically Neal and Parsons. So we had Jalen with 16 snaps, LVE with 14 snaps, and Cox 0 snaps. And it was like 51.
Mike McCarthy had some interesting comments about that. He was like, you know, Jalen and LVE deserve to be disappointed or whatnot. Like, honestly, they don't.
He was like, I would hope they were disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, because they do not fit the mold of being nickel linebackers. Like, we just know because I know a lot of people have been high or been low actually on Jalen Smith because his lack of mobility, his, you know, lack of coverage. But the same thing applies for LVE. And so we all saw that once you bring in Micah Parsons, who is a 3-down linebacker that can do it all, that's one spot. And then you have Keanu Neal, who's converted safety to linebacker because you want to bring him in for those coverage matchups. And so it's like they really don't fit right now what Dan Quinn is trying to do. So damn right, their snaps diminished to, I think, 11% or 12% for the both of them. And so, and that's something I was saying, you know, earlier. It's like when I watched the preseason game, pick your guys and roll with it. So if Dan Quinn feels like Parsons and Neal are his guys, those are our guys. We have to roll with it. But these interchangeable pieces, it's just not going to happen because Tom Brady would have picked them up just as easily.
Big facts. The the other side of it too. Now here's the uptick for the defense. Run defense was great last night.
Yeah.
Run defense was, did their job. I mean, as I told people before, I mean, the Bucs stopped running the ball basically just as the Cowboys. They actually had less runs than the Cowboys. You had Leonard Fournette with 9 carries for 32 yards, Ronald Jones 4 for 14 in the fumble, and then you had AB for 1 for 6. So I mean, they, the defense, there's the big uptake, but it was almost like Tom Brady. When you watch what's that dadgum show? Oh, Waterboy, and he was about to hit that onside kick. He's like, "Where's my bit? Where's my bit?" There it is. And like he saw Anthony Brown, and he went to work, right? So I mean, they basically said, "Okay, here's the weakness. We're going to attack it." But to your point, like you said about Kellen Moore in this game plan, it's kind of what Dallas did. They kind of said, okay, where's the weakness? Let's go attack it. And one of the things that we talked about leading up on the preview show was that I said I wanted to see Kellen Moore. I said the spotlight for me was really on Kellen Moore this game because I wanted to see him get Dak into it quickly. And then the way that you can help this run game is these basically run plays, but they're passes. These just okay. Well, I'm just gonna snap the ball, throw it right to the wide receiver, let him go. I'm gonna hit the running backs out of the backfield a little bit. And about 10 to 15 of Dak's 58 attempts were really just long handoffs, and it got things rolling and things going the right way, which actually opened up some of the bigger stuff for Lamb on the touchdown, right? And that same play on the other side, if you didn't go to Lamb, the other side did the same exact route concept, was wide open as well. So I definitely like that. Now, I don't think it's going to be that game plan every time. And, they needed Zeke to block. And, boy, Zeke earned his check blocking.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are kind of casual don't see the impact that Zeke had. But I think that having Zach Martin out, Zeke had to kind of go into that role, and he did a damn good job. My frustration, though, like, I don't care what the situation is. 4 carries going to half for Ezekiel Elliott's just uncalled. I feel like he just needed to be involved and have the ball in his hands just slightly more than what we saw yesterday. So what we really have to pay attention to is if we go into week 2 and that's the same kind of mentality, then it's like, where does Ezekiel Elliott really fit amongst this offense? Because last night, because there was a play that they ran an inside zone with Tony Pollard on 31 and Pollard was stopped short. I was like,
see, it was a 3rd and 3, and I know this because I actually tweeted 3rd and 3. Now Dak saw it, and we had the odd man front, so it was like, okay, he changed the play to the read option, and the concept was we're not going to block Sue,
right?
Okay, so he got it, he held it. Really, Dak should have pulled it out because Sue didn't bite on anything. He was all the way on Pollard, and if he keeps it, he'll probably get the first. He gave it to Pollard. There was no chance. And dude, they didn't run the ball again until the second half.
Right.
Because I was into the 3rd quarter. I was like, we haven't ran the ball since 3rd and 3 with Pollard.
Right.
I said, this is insane to me right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because leading up to the game, up to a few weeks, is like my whole mentality about playing the Bucs was let the bodies hit the floor, and I guess that was really their mentality. I didn't think they were going to do it, but it's like the Bucs have guns, we have guns, we're going to air it out. And whoever survives, survives. And that was really the mentality yesterday, because I had no idea that they were going to completely abandon the run game in the capacity that they did yesterday. Like I said, it wasn't. I was like walking up to the bathroom at halftime. They posted on the screen, Ezekiel Elliott, 4 and a half. I'm like, man, you should at least get 5 to 8 in a quarter. It was just, but they completely abandoned it. And it's like, I know that their weak spots where the corners in the secondary, especially after the injury, was concerned, but you still have to give us some type of run momentum. So we'll probably get into the 4th quarter, but I feel like that's when the 4th quarter we should have really utilized the run, and we failed to do so. And then, eventually it turned out in Tampa's favor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 4 carries in the first half for Zeke. He ended up with 7 carries in the second half. But, man, there was just nothing up the middle. I mean, we were just handing the ball running into Vita Vea's dadgum stomach is what we were doing. Now, they got creative with the old school halfback toss.
Right, yeah.
You use it in men. You don't really use it in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
And that was probably
Yeah.
And he had a pretty good run off of that. But, boy, if you take that one run away, boy, it was just tough sled. We talked about balance leading up to the preview, right? We're like, man, we got to be more balanced. We got to be balanced. I think they did balance it because, again, even though, look, I think, yes, you could have got Zeke more involved in space. I do believe that because when we look at his catches, I think what do you have? Like 2 catches, maybe 3.
Right.
Let me see. Yeah, 2 for 6.
It's not the ball in his hand enough.
Yeah, the ball wasn't in his. I mean, we're talking about 13 touches for Zeke. You gotta get the ball in his hands more. And unfortunately, man, I talked about this in preseason. I was like, man, this red zone offense still not clicking for me. Everybody said, Knicks, it's okay. Don't worry. Dak's not out there. And honestly, this is why I said I'm not really worried about the push off. If we're just cleaning the red zone, we win the game.
Right.
The first time the play action rollout, it's on Dak, okay, because he had Zeke from go. I don't know what he was looking at the back because I don't have the all 22. Anybody knows what all 22? Let me know.
Yeah, I know, right?
I need that. But if he hits Zeke just a half a second earlier, Zeke turns around and scores right there instead of going out of bounds. But he waited too long; he was too close to the boundary, and he couldn't turn. So they could have easily scored right there if he gets rid of the ball sooner to Zeke. Then on the other time that we were in the red zone, right, we go with the speed option, which was well designed, and execution comes into play here. Blake Jarwin just can't block. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all,
we kind of know that.
Block. I couldn't, like, all he had to do was screen, because a lot of people are, going at Zeke about that play. Yeah. I was like, Zeke was trying to, but by the time Zeke was trying to hit the outside, the corner, I think it was already there, and he wanted to go back inside, but they already had a linebacker flowing, because he was thinking that all Blake Jarwin had to do, even if the block was get in the way. And
that was the problem because Jarwin did get in the way, but Jarwin got in the way, but pushed him outside. Schultz actually sealed the inside enough.
Right.
If Zeke looks at that play again, he's like, as soon as I got the ball, if I would have just turned up, I probably would have scored. Right. But he thought he was going to get to the outside, and he just didn't. Right. I do need Zeke. I mean, that's a practice squad guy. I need Zeke to kind of smash him out that a little bit.
And I've been saying that. Everybody's like, "Oh, Zeke's in shape. He's lost weight." I didn't see the. From Ezekiel Elliott, because I've
only on the blocking did I see. Because one guy came through. I think it was David came through the middle, and boy, Zeke just mashed.
I was thinking, like, when I watched it, at least Zeke would try to go through that guy, So it's like, I don't know, but we still got to be patient and see how it works out. But it was a bad, blocking on Blake Jarwin's side, but it was a good play call because it was there.
It was there,
and so that's definitely there. Now, here's my concern when it comes to that whole drive.
Okay.
Mike McCarthy last year, we all know, going for it on fourth down, super aggressive. I felt like that was the opportunity to go for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
Taking a field goal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, there was a couple times I thought there was an opportunity there, but you're on the road. It's world champs this week 1. And if you go back to the Rams last year, remember, he passes up the field goal to go for it on fourth. They don't get it, so you don't get the field goal to tie or whatever. So there were some things there working.
They turned it from 19 to, what was it, 19?
Oh, it was like 2017, I think, right?
Is that what it was like? I think we turned it to 2.
Yeah, it's like you're right. Yeah. 1921, something like that, right? So again, so it's just one of those things when we get to the red zone. It's like we'll get a good play call that should work, but the execution's sloppy, or we get a play call. Well, I mean, really execution because Dak missed Zeke earlier, even though maybe the first read might have been to somebody in the end zone. I mean, as soon as he picked up Zeke and Zeke came out, I was like, oh, it's right there. I mean, I was like, it's right there. And he just waited too long to get it to him. So, I mean, right there alone, I mean, that's 6 points that we got, but I mean, you missed on 8. And that's kind of the biggest thing that I said with everything that happened in this game. You could have, I mean, if the Cowboys play a cleaner game, they win this game fairly easily. Now the Bucs had they did play a clean game. They had over 100 yards in penalties. The turnovers. Look, everybody wants to throw up the 4 turnovers. The Hail Mary, get it out of here. The Hail Mary turnover, it was really 3, okay?
Right.
And so, I mean, the Hail Mary is whatever. Well, now, unless Jordan Lewis would cut inside instead of towards the sideline and go score, then maybe.
Yeah, he thought he was about to go. Yeah, right.
But, I mean, again, it's just one of those games where, man, early on, you got to learn about your team. We understand that. But, bro, there was so many ups, downs, and, like, things we can hang our hat on and things we can't. But, again, till we go to the Chargers, like you just said earlier, we have to wait and see what happens. One thing we can say, especially teams as bad in preseason, was not good last night either. 92 yards in the kick return game, missed field goals. And, again, we looked at field position. Their punter 65 yards out on the 2. We started like 3 different possessions inside our own 5.
5. You're right. It was special. I mean, we always talk about all 3 cylinders, and they had that third cylinder, which was special teams that really made a difference. But yeah, I just thought that Mike McCarthy kind of going in from what we saw last year, he was going to be a little bit more aggressive and go for it at that time because he went aggressive for this long ass field goal at the end, which almost could have been costly to us because it's about to put them back in scoring range.
Right.
Luckily, things didn't work out in our favor, and so overall, like I said this on Twitter, I'm not a fan of the moral victory standard, especially
Right.
for this game, because I felt that we were the better team going into the game and during the game. I feel like we were the better team. It's just those little things that happen. Like you just got to be more considerate of everything going on, And so because it's hard to say like, okay, well, we almost beat Tampa, so now we're 15 versus the Chargers. And I've been saying this, and we'll talk about this probably here soon as we get ready for week 2. Is the Cowboys, I know them as a fan from an emotional standpoint, right?
Right.
Our backs was against the wall. Everybody was counting us out. I mean, we had us at 7-point underdogs. I think by the time it was kicked off, like 9.5.
Yeah, it was like 9.5, right?
Yeah, so nobody was giving us a shot, and actually the Cowboys kind of rally in that. But you turn on the TV right now, Dak Prescott, he's elite now. I'm so sorry. The Cowboys are going to clearly win the NFC East. They should be a favorite for the NFC Championship after what we saw last night. And then boom, what do we get? Michael Gallup's out and Lyle skipping drug tests. And so it's like, I kind of like where we were mentally, everyone counting us out versus going to week 2 because it really doesn't translate. Now, there's some things you can pull from, of course, but we should have won that game, y'all. We should have won that game. It was really there for the taking. We put blood in Tampa Bay's mouth. Those Bucs fans, they were shook. There was actually a moment in the game, I forgot, it's probably late in the fourth quarter, where we started "Let's Go Cowboys" chant, and it rang throughout that. It rang throughout the entire stadium because they were all sitting down in their seats.
Yeah, I mean, actually, me and Sofa was commenting super late last night because I couldn't go to sleep on Twitter. There was multiple times through the TV broadcast, and I was at a sports bar even where we could hear the Cowboys fans cheering at least a minimum 4. Definitely when Coop got the ball, you would hear the Coop, Coop stuff. We heard the "Let's Go Cowboys" a couple times for sure. Troubling part for me. Here's a troubling, and again, it's always about look. It's every win ain't means you're there, and every loss will mean you're here. I look for trends and different things. Here's one thing for me that's troubling. Okay, is that we won the time of possession by almost 10 minutes, right? Almost 10 minutes. I think we were 34 minutes of some change, and they were 25 minutes of some change. Now, granted, when you hit a 50-yard touchdown, I mean, you're going to be pretty quick on some of the time of possession to the AB. But when I look at it that way, Brady still did 379 yards passing. Stopped the run. Now we can say obviously we look at the numbers on AB, they're attributed, but boy, something crept up that a lot of people haven't been talking about. It used to be a very a big nemesis for us. And whenever we went over to the Bucs report on the Bucs AF podcast, and I was like, "Hey, that's how they Rob Gronkowski." I mean, for me, I'm a little concerned. He's like, "Oh no." And Rob Gronkowski showed up and really, I mean, to be honest with you, AB was cool. Don't get me wrong. I think Rob Gronkowski was the difference, man. I'll be honest with you.
He absolutely was. And what you got to think about it, what do AB and Gronkowski have? They are connected here with Tom Brady. Like Gronkowski is, Brady's Jason Witten. Like when things are on the line, I'm going to my guy. It just is what it is. And they were just in sync. And you saw that, especially that final drive. He wasn't looking anywhere. I'm going to Gronk. And Gronk was able to make plays. And so, I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, Gronk's a shell of himself. He is, but he can still do a lot of damage, which he clearly did yesterday, man. He had a big physical body, had the whole damn corner secondary trying to tackle and take him down. Like, that's what he did. And Brady's always going to be in sync. He knows what his guy is. And I think the same thing is with Antonio Brown. So, yeah, it was a matchup.
And the crazy part was like on that last drive, like there was nobody around Gronk, and I was like, oh, this looks familiar. And that was kind of another thing too that I kind of noticed between Dak and Tom Brady, what was going on. And look, shout out to the Bucs and their defense. By the way, they are excellent tacklers, because Dotton. I mean, I'm telling you now, Dak out there dotting But boy, I mean, they would get him down pretty quick. I mean, as soon as they got the ball, they would twist. They were going down. Man, I tell you, there was always somebody close to the Cowboys receivers. The difficulty level was a little bit higher for that. I'm telling you, man, on Tom Brady, a lot of his passes they would send people on for the most part. Man, there was nobody in the picture at times.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
there were so many soft zone covers, especially on that last drive. I'm like, bro, you're giving them way too much cushion. But you had to respect him. I'm like, bro, you gave up so, and he was just boom. Like he was doing the old, when people who play Madden and they just hike the ball and just press square real quick. And like Tom Brady was literally doing that, hiking the ball, throwing quick throw because we gave up so much cushion underneath, and he just want to pick that apart. And so, it was frustrating, man. And actually, go ahead and take over for a sec. I'm about to go to the bar real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries. And look, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the Gronk situation, right? And Gronk, 8 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now the one where we blitzed down there on the bottom, and that was just him and Brady playing backyard football. He punched on D-Law. There was nobody there, and he took off. Knew Brady would be looking for him, and I mean, look. D-Law versus Gronk, that's an L every time. I mean, it just is, right? There's not much you can do there. But for me, especially that last drive, they hit him, he got out of bounds. And then once again, the one that hurt even before Chris Godwin got that one down, push off or not, they hit Gronk and he got he rumbled for like 5-6 yards before somebody even touched him. Like you just can't have those things happening late in the game. My guy Matt O's who's in the building as well talked about I wasn't happy with the defensive coverage game plan. We ran man coverage 62% of the time, way too high, and especially when you blitz. And this was another thing when we did dial up the blitz, the man coverage was too soft. Like you can't Brady's going to identify the blitz. He's going to see it coming, right? Let's be clear. Okay, then you have to be a little bit more press, make you pat the ball a little bit extra, allow the pass rush to get there, if you will. And those are just, little things. Again, this is the end all be all where this defense is going to be or what's going to happen. But these are just the little things that we got to look at with this thing. I mean, think about it, guys. The Bucs are the first team ever to allow 450 yards passing, 450 total yards offense, give up 4 turnovers, they turn the ball over 4 times, have 100+ yards in penalties, and won the game. And low key had the ball 10 minutes less than the opponent. Man, that was crazy. And look, and the Cowboys on the same token didn't have a great game either, clean wise, because that's when you start talking about turnovers, then you talk about the penalty yards. Cowboys as well, a little not clean, especially the red zone, which we talked about a little bit earlier. But you got to do a little bit better than that. No way we should have lost this game from D-Town. Obviously you can look at the kicker, right? I know a lot of people want to talk about the kicker. We'll kind of pivot over here to Greg of the Leg, who went 3 for 5. The 60-yarder. I don't know, right? But he misses the extra point. You just can't do that. You can't miss the extra point. He does miss one a little bit earlier. He's coming off of back surgery. The one thing that I kind of talked about during preseason as well, like we had our punter for like the first 2 games place kicking instead of just bringing an actual place kicker. And I'm like, okay, I know Greg's going to be the guy, but at least bring somebody in, have some competition, if anything. That Kyle Forbath is still out there. Yeah, as a free agent, you could have brought him back in at least for camp and seen. Now last year he was pretty good for us. Don't get me wrong with Greg. I think he was 12 for 12 for 30 and under or 35 and under, and 12 or 13 for 40 and over. But last night wasn't good. Now those are field goals that you got to have, not the 60. It'd been nice if you made the 60, but not the 60. But the other 2, right? You get the 4 points, and there it is. There it is. And JJ does have his back. He said they're going to move forward with him. But more importantly, he's got a sponsor, right? His sponsor's the Bones Jones, our special teams guy, who we heard prior to last year how much. And look, and the proof is in the pudding. He has been a great special teams coordinator in this league. Man, it has not been very good though, guys. It just hasn't. Last night, because we were kicking the ball in the end zone, right? Kicking the ball in the end zone. And then also we started to kick it high. Oh, did Forbat Sunday? Fair enough. But they started kicking it high and short so they could go cover. Well, then they couldn't cover. After getting burned on a couple of returns, then they're like, all right, let's go and kick it back deep to the end zone. How about this? Here's an idea. Just kick it through the end zone and don't worry about it. Just put them on the 25. Stop playing with fire. There's no reason to. And the game plan is just bad, And there you go, Colin. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to have some kind of competition. So special teams definitely didn't do us any favors last night. Although I know special teams isn't flashy. Our punter did average about 49 yards a punt and put one inside the 20. He had to punt a lot last night. So there's your bright spot on special teams. And probably the best play for special teams was there when we were backed up to the 3 and out real quick, and he just bombed one downfield. Even though they drove and almost scored, we got the turnover. But, boy, that was really good. That was really good. How about Dak, though, as well? As Tuck was talking about Dak a little earlier and what was going on in the building. From the sideline, watching him coach, really being these guys and talking during the whole game, he was very – I've seen Dak before just if the play's over, the offense, he's sitting on there and he's just looking and going. Dak was very involved last night on the sidelines. And he was in people's ass and he was doing different things and talking and doing things as a leader should, a little bit more fiery from Dak last night. I thought that was an interesting turn of events for him. So again, not much more you can really talk or ask of Dak. I know we around the way, different people are saying, well, we threw the ball too much and different things. The biggest takeaway is, man, guys, 18 straight games, 18 of them straight. If we don't score 30 points, we lose. Not to say it's the same old, but boy, you scored 29. You feel like you should win the game, right? Oh, man. I was just talking about, and something I want to ask you this, too, because you was talking about Dak when we were talking about what you like, what you didn't like, and that two-fisting. The big thing that I looked at and saw was, or that we were able to see from the TV broadcast, dude, Dak was on the sideline, and, I mean, he was not that he's not a leader, but, I mean, he was very vocal and animated on the sidelines last night. Were y'all able to see that from the stands?
Dak wanted it. I mean, you can tell by the whole, his composure was a lot different. You said this earlier, Nick. He's a made man now. And so I'm pretty sure because, watching it on a TV broadcast, I watched this game twice. I saw a play, especially in the fourth quarter, in that final drive, where they sent in the play, and Tom Brady was like, no, we're not doing that. And I feel like now that Dak is a made man, he's a lot more vocal, he's a lot more composed, but he's leading this team in a lot different way. And it kind of gravitated throughout the team. He wasn't afraid, and so I don't think anyone else on the field was afraid, man. So, yeah, I think we're seeing a different Dak Prescott. Kind of quick pivot point, the Picks train is here in my hotel. So I guess the University of Florida Gators, they play tomorrow here at Raymond James Stadium. So the Florida football team is all walked in. So it's kind of cool, man. They're all. I'm trying to find Elam, man. My cornerback the next year. Hey, actually, can you just go ahead and play now?
While you're at it, And again, I was kind of talking about the special teams a little bit and what happened there. And Bones, that's kind of where we pivoted off where you left, and we talked about anger and some stuff while you were gone. There was just ups and downs on all sides, right? In all three phases, and we just can't be that. Right. One thing's for certain, and what we kind of talked about, and I told everybody all off season, we've banged our chest about this. This is a Super Bowl caliber offense. We just need the defense to come along for the ride. And we talked about turnovers and points per game. They won the turnover battle last night. They didn't win the points per game battle last night. And that kind of put us behind, the 8-ball, obviously, as we took the L. But again, everything that we said and we thought about this offense outside the red zone, a little bit more efficient, in spades, brother. I mean, it's there. And Dak, and no matter what for those that thought Dak was really good last year or not, I mean, we know there's a twist on that. When you have Dan Orlovsky out here saying, my bad, I'm wrong, Dak's elite. I mean, right. With the pivot, it was like, is hell freezing over? I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, well, finally you woke up. But I mean, what a masterful performance. Would you say, because some say it was the best game Dak's played as a pro. Do you think it was the best game he's played as a pro? I think it was really good.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it's his best either.
But I think the reason why everyone's gravitating towards the game is because of the situation. Like coming off an injury, not playing in preseason, going against the greatest of all time. So I think that's why they pin it as his
Completely agree,
greatest game.
Robert.
But I mean, so statistically, it looks a lot different. Just the whole, you look at the game in a nutshell. But nah, I don't think it's his best game, man. I even like what, and I said this is like, with Dan Orlovsky, you said that. I was like, bro, Dak did this his rookie season versus Aaron Rodgers
Very fixed down, but
in the playoffs, but
maybe
it's
people
just
looked at it. How about this one? People looked at it because it wasn't what they kept trying to tell Dak was on garbage time.
right. And it started out the game.
Maybe that's what it was last time that opened
Right.
their eyes up. You know what I mean?
And we said this is about, Dak possibly being in MVP consideration. He has two big targets to kind of go against to put his name in that conversation. He almost clipped one of them. The next one will be in November. If you take this kind of same performance and let's say we go to Kansas City and we beat Kansas City and he puts up this type of performance, he's going to be in consideration because no one's going to really believe in Dak until he clips all these little quarterbacks they think is so much better than him, like the main guys. And so, but I feel like Dak wanted to get a win out of this game.
Yeah.
And, they
definitely.
all
I mean, he showed, he definitely had a point to prove. You could tell that he's like, hey, man, I'm letting the world know. I'm putting them on notice. We're going to do what we do. Let's talk about this, because we've had our fun with this. Let's talk about wide receiver one. Let's talk a little wide receiver one action, shall we?
Yeah. Go ahead.
For now, the old head still holding off the young buck. Amari Cooper still holding on to that over Mr. Lamb. Now, I mean, look, and we can talk about the numbers, right? Cooper, 13 catches, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lamb, not a bad night. I mean, 7 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. But the drops with Lamb. Look, the first one, I don't put on Lamb, by the way. He was kind of slipping, falling down. Dak kind of short-armed it a little bit. I don't put that on. The one that where he went right back to Lamb, that hurts.
Right. Yeah.
Now people are going to talk about the interception, right?
Yeah.
It does hit him in the hands, right?
Right.
Boy, but if he catches it, 24s on that backside are about to completely annihilate him.
If you look at it in slow mo, because I saw someone post it on Twitter, he literally came across and he was like this.
Yeah.
Like he would, because like you said, and granted, we know that CD has put a lot more muscle mass on his frame, but it was a bad spot. Great throw by Dak.
Yeah, but he put him in a bad spot. He hung him out there.
Yeah, you hung him out there. So
got the super chat coming in from JR.
Appreciate you.
I agree. Dak was a little bit more active last night. Possible side effect of getting his money and all his teammates know this is his team now. Yeah, like I said, he's a made man now. He's a made man now. Facts. And that matters, right? And also too, it's a made man because I think this we've watched Kellen Moore call games. Well, this looked a lot like Boise State last night, right? We haven't seen this kind of game plan from Kellen Moore.
Right.
Who's also a made man now with that new 3-year deal.
Right. Made man are making decisions, but also this team realized how bad it was last year without him. So it's like they are really rallying around him. And I felt like just having him back was a sigh of relief. But going back to CD, like I said, CD had a great game, and so did Amari Cooper. I know we can kind of we're blessed to be in the position where we really have two wide receiver ones because you got to pick your poison. I'm not concerned about the drops when it comes to CD. It's going to happen because Coops has had drops before too as well. Just that main one that turned to the interception. Oh yeah, appreciate the super chat. I just feel like that interception. He took his eyes off the ball. Clearly, I mean it was just a bad spot. Great throw. It is what it is. But I feel like the moment swing of that game was costly because I felt like that was the drive and we can kind of push things forward and go score. But it happens within the flow of the game. I'm not concerned about CD.
Yeah, the only thing that gives me just a little pause is I think that I forget. Oh, thank you. I forget who had posted it, but it was basically like on X amount of targets, he had like 10 drops in college versus like 89, 90 targets in the NFL, and he has a higher number of drops. Now, look, I think that's fixable. I think that is fixable stuff. I think, and we have to remember he didn't get to play with Dak all last year, right? He was playing more. I mean, honestly, he got more balls, from Dalton and other guys. So there's some time for that chemistry to come together for them to be better. But there's other places too where whenever Dak had to run, That's because Lamb didn't stop. Like he was trying to get it out to Lamb,
Right.
and then Lamb moved. I was like, and you saw, and look, Lamb caught it because he turned around and pointed this out. I was like, okay, yeah.
Right.
And then you saw Dak say, hey, right there, I'm gonna get you the rock.
Right.
And then the one pass to the end zone, which could have been a touchdown as well. Lamb just, I don't know if he looked up. I don't know if he just didn't locate the ball or he didn't expect the ball or what it was. So those small things that they got to work out. And look, and everybody had their miscues last time. Like I said, even Dak did. Like I said, the first throw to Lamb that quote unquote dropped, he short armed it. He just did.
Yeah, and also when it comes to CD, I think the difference between him and Cooper is that CD looks to be a real yak guy. And so a lot of times when he's making drops, he's looking to catch the ball and go. You know, because we saw that in the fourth quarter with a big play. Like he's trying to get upfield. Right. And so sometimes you got to make sure that you catch it, secure it, then go. And so it's those little things that I think that you'll start to see as he grows throughout his career. But I'm not concerned. I know a lot of people are like, I see he drops the ball. I'm like, no, don't start that. So
yeah. Like I said, this is something that they'll get on the same page because Dak's the way that Dak's built, he's not going to let him not be on the same page. And look, and Lamb's built that way too. You know, Lamb's ready to go do something and do some things. So I'm not that concerned about it. You know, again, just for this game, this purpose is what we're talking about. It's like, hey, these are just kind of the things that happened. You know, nobody was perfect in the game, and these are just what happened with Lamb. Blessed to have both of them. I just felt like at times, especially in the first half, maybe just trying to a little too much force it over here to Lamb a little bit.
Right.
You know, I think there was like 15 balls this way, 15, 16 balls this way, into catching 7 of them. You know, but again, when you got your playmakers, right, you want to give them the ball. That's the name of the game. That's what you got to do. Tight end position, though. I mean, Schultz did his thing. You know, but 6 catches, 45 yards. I mean, Blake 3 for 20. Now we kind of thought maybe Blake could give us something in the scene, but it never came to fruition. But I mean, both. I mean, man, if we're going to get, was it 9? What was it total? 9 catches for 85 yards from the tight end position?
Right.
Can't be too mad at that, right? You can't be too mad at that. I do want to double back to something that we were talking about a little bit earlier. The aggressiveness, right? The aggressiveness. And I kind of thought even there, if not for the penalty prior to when we kicked the field goal, they get a little bit closer to kick the field goal, take the lead late. Even then, I kind of thought about they should have go for it. I didn't like the fact. Let's get to the and what I'm saying is let's get to this last drive. That's what I want to get to. I want to get to this last drive here.
Yeah.
Right. We trickulated the ball down the field, if you will. But boy, timely mistakes, timely going out of bounds, and not enough of the right calls to churn that clock, whether it was handoff, a screen, something simple to churn that clock, J-Tuck.
Yeah, that's it. That's what, y'all. That's what had me speechless where I couldn't record a video last night. Like, that's what.
I'm surprised you got a voice, to be honest with you.
I'm barely, man. But like, I was going to record. I was like, no, I can't, because that final drive is what really set me off. I know it wasn't the push off, because if you go back and watch it, it was 1:51, right? A minute 51 left. Once after the 2-minute timeout. And then we got the ball. We were already in field goal range at that point.
Yeah.
We throw the ball incomplete to CD. They had 3 timeouts at that point. A simple handoff, screen, sweep, whatever.
Yeah.
Keep the clock moving. They have to burn 1 timeout.
Yeah.
Another one, they have to burn 2 timeouts. Another one, they have to burn 3 timeouts. So when we did that, and we also went for the passing play, and then we got the holding call, it pushed us back, where we had to pretty much use a play to get back in the field goal range. It will allow them to use a timeout. So by the time that we got the field goal, it's 1:51. They got the ball back at like 1:27 with 1 timeout. You're playing Tom Brady. That has to be the walk-off drive and possession, period. And you have to know that.
Yeah. PJ with the $5 super chat says Dak is the man now. I totally agree. But when will Anthony Brown be benched? And also, we need another kicker. Anthony Brown getting benched. Don't hold your breath, is what I'll say.
Don't hold your breath, man.
Don't hold your breath. Yeah, that last drive. And look, and here's the thing about it. And this is circumstance. This is on McCarthy. This is on McCarthy. This is on Kellen Moore. Look, I'm even going to put this on Dak a little bit as well, and players that got the ball in their hands. Look, you've done this before. You scored with like 1:12 left, right? And what did Aaron Rodgers do? With no timeouts, Bing, 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 touchdown. He wins walk
Right.
off.
Right.
Like we've been here before with these things. With these, there's just certain quarterbacks, right? Whether it's Aaron Rodgers,
Mahomes, and Tom Brady,
and maybe Russell Wilson at times.
Russell Wilson,
Gotta be a little scary, but those are the top three, though.
Eventually, you'll put Dak, but yeah,
those are the top
those
three.
Go out, you just know.
You
And
just
like
know.
every Bucs fan in that stadium, the guy next to me was like, "You left us too much." I was like, "I know. You have to tell me. I already know, bro. Like I already knew what was going to happen as soon as I looked at the clock and saw that they had a timeout." And I was like, "Damn it, bro! Here we go." Because it wasn't that we were up by 3; we were only up by 2.
Yeah,
I lived it too much, y'all.
Yeah, we've been here, done that. We got the T-shirts the whole 9.
And just like you were saying, Nix, even in that situation of lingering for the field goal and playing for the field goal, like that was still very conservative because of what we've been going through. Like I posted the video. I couldn't even watch because I just felt like Zerline, what could possibly shank it. But you left way, way too much time on the field. And because you think about it, even when they got that false start, they were able to use their timeout.
The timeout saved the 10 seconds.
But if they didn't have any, that would have been 10-second runoff. So they should at least got the ball. We should at least be kicking off at least 40 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be, again, clock management. Boy, I hate saying clock management because how much did we go through that in the Romo and Jason Garrett era, right? And look, and even in the Jason Garrett and Dak era, I mean, clock management is on coaching. Look, I can say the players need to understand that a little bit better. Like CeeDee Lamb, man, I'm telling you, on 3rd and 11 when CeeDee Lamb broke that, and he was going, I was like, stay in bounds. And he went right out. I was like, damn it. Like, we have to guys, we got to kill this clock some more. And to me, when I was looking at 124, I know it's like 4th and 6 or 7. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, man, Dak's been picking these up all night. I'm like, be aggressive. I'm like, I get it. I mean, it's the Bucs or whatever. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And this
I would have understood it. I would have understood.
Right. If we don't get it, I'm like, I get it, right?
Because and then, at that point, you couldn't question McCarthy. And he would easily said, well, look how our field goals have been going all night. That was the reason. So no Cowboys, like he was pretty much playing with house money to go for it at that time. But
Dak was cooking. And Dak was, and that was the other thing too. Dak was cooking. Look, I would like to see them go for it. I mean, obviously, if it works out the other way, we wouldn't be saying that. But even at the time, I looked over at my guy Josh that was with me, and my guy Patrick Page. Shout out to them. They just had birthdays the last couple of days, and I was like, I don't know, guys, but we probably should go for this. I know the penalty kind of hurt us, and they didn't do it or whatever. But I'm still even right where it was. I think they should have probably went for that, but they didn't. They got there, we'll flip it to the defensive side of the ball, and Dan Quinn, you got to call it the best plays at the time, and boy. Look, even this, right? Even after the penalty, the first pass to Gronk on his way to out of bounds.
Out of bounds, right.
Again, no one close enough to get him down in bounds to run and churn that clock. And then, of course, the second time to Gronk, there's just no one around him, and he goes. Even at that point, if you're able to keep them, I mean, it's still a decent field goal. It's not a 35-yarder, though. It's still, 47-ish, whatever, 48. I'm like, okay, we have a chance here. If we just stop him right here, let's see what happens. And, of course, Godwin. And then the dropbacks throwing them high, killing the clock.
Right.
I'm like, all right, fair enough. Yeah. All right, Brady, whatever.
Everybody's like, what is he doing? I'm like,
he's killing that clock.
He's clock managing.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. I'll tell you, like all the different penalties that go back and forth. There's only one penalty that bothered me the whole entire game. Only one. And that's because when it's judgment calls, things can go either way. We played the game. We know, even when it's played the game, y'all know, your coach always tells you, don't leave it up to the refs. But the helmet sticks in my craw a little bit because it's not a judgment call. It's black and white. It's simple. You remove your helmet. It's over. He was in the middle of the field. He wasn't he wasn't going to the sideline like one step out of bounds and did it or whatever. Right. It's simple that he was in the middle of the field. Every camera saw it. Everybody saw it. And not only did he just take the damn thing off, he spiked it. Yeah. It's an automatic 15, bro. It's an automatic 15, and that keeps the drive alive, and maybe that turns into a touchdown for us. Who knows? Right. But, man, that's the only call for me that really sticks in my – I'm like, oh, that irks me. You can't miss those. Like as a referee, as
you said, black and white. There's no okay, do you need to have a discussion? No, he took his helmet off. That's my problem, man. My first as a Cowboys fan, it's just those little things. if that was us taking on him, they would have caught that. Like, oh, boom, helmet up. Like,
Yeah.
but for some of these other teams, they just always get away with it. And for us, going back to the offensive pass interference. Last year versus the Rams, it was just like, oh, he extended his arm. Extended his arm. Now this year, when it happens to us, arm fully extended, they were positioning for like no, because it wasn't the extension that got Jay Lou off balance. It was the first push, then the extension.
Yeah.
That's what knocked him off his pivot. And if you think about that, that moves them back 15 yards and could have been different in the game.
Right.
But even with that, man, it's just, like I said, the clock management leading up to that possession, there's no way you leave that much time with Tom Brady and also a timeout. Like, no.
Yeah. DJ says Brady threw the ball away while inside the tackle box. Should have been intentional grounding penalty. Actually, the rule book states if they're not under pressure, it's not intentional grounding. So
that's the part. He wasn't under pressure. He wasn't under pressure all night.
Yeah,
here's the crazy part, y'all. DeMarc, and I was saying this in the stadium. We are this close away to getting to Brady, like every time. And DeMarcus Lawrence was this close from getting that ball at Brady's hand, and then Diggs was this close to getting the interception to end the game. Man, it was right there.
Oh yeah, if Diggs is literally 6 inches back, not even a full foot back, just 6 inches back. He picks that.
Right.
I mean, you're just that close. Another one.
Even the play, Michael Parsons. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Andrew Armstrong came off the edge one time, and he got all the ball. I was like, he got it. I was like, I don't know how he didn't fumble the ball. I guess that TB12 would work out or whatever he's doing, because he hit him and it just went directly here, and he cocked it back and did whatever. But the keys to the game that we talked about, I know you talked about as well on your channel, was it wasn't just pressure. We had to get pressure up the middle, and brother, ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, Brady's jersey was very, 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 very clean.
You didn't have to wash it, bro. They probably just hung it up and say, "All right, we'll get it ready."
The only time he fell down, he was kind of tripping and threw that ball out there, and Parsons could.
And it was still a completion. I'm just like, I thought the interior pressure, but also just the pressure in general, was going to be a lot better. I had a lot higher expectations for Randy Gregory. He didn't do not much. We also got a Bradley and I sighting finally in a real game. Mm-hmm. There wasn't that much pressure there. Basham was out there. Like, it just wasn't enough, man. No. And you can't allow that with Tom Brady. If he's comfortable, he's even just boom, 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 boom.
That's what he does.
And every time you get an opportunity versus a player like that, you have to seize the moment offensively, and that's where we kind of missed out. 7 points off the board from Greg Zuerlein. That's it.
Yeah, man. And the problem, again, they were dialing up blitzes. We're just too soft in the coverage or whatever. And anytime you would almost get there, Brady just get rid of it. It's fine. And that's just, the coverage, different things. So it's Brady, though, right?
What happened to this whole idea about, we're going to get big physical corners. We're going to beat pressing and all that stuff.
Rich Sherman's out there.
6 foot and taller. We're going to be physical. Like, we're giving up so much damn cushion because you're scared because Antonio Brown was rocking the baby on you. It's like, back up everybody. Like,
man, I wonder how much longer, because Chargers got weapons now.
That's what I'm saying. We have killers out the gate. As just as talented as the Bucs wide receivers are, they got them too. And so it's like, it's going to be interesting, man. But I agree with you, Mike, man. We did play hard. We fought. We
scratched.
And that's what I really wanted to see out this team. That's what I believe we're going to do because of Dak Prescott.
Boom. Yeah, nailed. There it is. I think this team showed a lot of grit and determination because their leader was back, and they played at a different level because of Dak. And Dak was very interactive in doing things and changing plays and dotting people, if you will, connecting
dots.
Connecting a lot of dots out there to the tune of 40, what do you get? 42 of 58, my brother, for 403 and 3. In the defense, again, I like the defensive passion, but the coaching staff has to help them. And by helping them, you got to figure something out at the cornerback, man.
You got to.
Look, hey, Richard Sherman, sure. Bring him in.
At
Let's
this
see.
point, go ahead.
Let's
Yeah.
see. I mean, I was out on Sherman, but now why not?
And here's what I've been saying. I feel like it's going to have to get, bad 2018, bad before they make it a Amari Cooper type deal. And we're already one bad game in. So if we look at it out there and Keenan Allen is going crazy versus AB.
Yeah, Mike
they're gonna have
Williams,
to make a
Jalen
move.
Guyton. Yeah, boy, John Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, they got weapons. And that quarterback they got out there was slinging it last year as a rookie going into his second year. And then, I mean, they got Eckler, who can run the ball pretty well too. Again, the positive note for the defense, definitely did a good job against the run. So there is at least that. Gallimore effect felt, right? I think we have to say that. He wasn't playing. He was doing some things, during the preseason and whatnot, and he wasn't there. So it felt a little bit of pressure. I mean, a little bit that maybe from the pass, or maybe that push in the middle, right? But I mean, again, Osa will get better. That's one thing we do know. Watkins and Urban did their thing as run stoppers, and look, and Urban was the guy that kind of got the pressure right that made throw the ball out there even. What a catch by Leonard Fournette. I can't believe I'm saying that.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm like Leonard Fournette.
Because if Parsons would have got that, man, that would have been a pick six.
He's gone.
There.
Oh, yeah, he's gone.
I was like, how do you even catch it? I was like, damn it, man.
Yeah. But again, it's good to know that at least like we got, and Kelvin Joseph's coming back, right? And here comes Kelvin Joseph that'll be back after week 3. Kind of survive in advance right now with some of these guys that are out.
Right.
But yeah, look. I mean, if you are making a trade, right? So we know Gilmore was available. That was the word. What's his injury status? Because you know how the Patriots are. They're a little shuggy. Is he really injured? Is he not? There was a point in time where C.J. Henderson, right? He was available from Jacksonville. Is that something that's available? So yeah, look. Not saying they need to do this all-in move, like spend the first to go get this big, talented, Mika Fitzpatrick or Jamal Adams type, but you're right. It'll probably have to get a little bit worse from the passing defense before they do that. But if it does happen, I would like to see them go make a move. Do you think it's going to get to that point?
No, because they're going to toss some of these rookies out there and try to put a Band-Aid on it. So,
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll live with Joseph and Nashawn Wright getting beat. I'll live with that because they're rookies and they're learning on the job. But this Brown situation.
Right. And that's my thing. It's like, because I was so, vocal about you can't have those rookies out there. But I felt like I was putting my back into the corner where I had no other option. It's like, damn, I got to go with Anthony Brown. I don't want to, but it's like, I just didn't trust the secondary versus Tom Brady out the gate. And that's why we had to kind of have the game plan that we did where the bodies hit the floor, man, because it was just going to be a long day. I just felt it. And just like you add on Gronkowski on that. I mean, they still had, they didn't use Scotty Miller that much. Jalen Darden didn't play. Howard didn't play. Brady didn't. They had so many more bullets in the clip. They didn't even unload on us because they didn't have to. Because, like you said,
Brown.
Number 30.
Oh, there we go. Go that way. That way. For me, here's probably the smartest and easiest internal fix if they want to make a move at cornerback next week. Put Jordan Lewis on the outside, let Kennedy man the slot. I mean, that's the simple move that you can do.
But they're not going to do it.
But fair. That's fair. But, I mean, if we're talking about internally, in-house, realistic, not going out here making a trade or going to sign somebody, realistically, and Jordan Lewis did play outside in Michigan, put him outside, put Kennedy in the slot, or vice versa. I know they kind of like Kennedy in the slot more because he's the backup slot right now, not outside. So figure it out. Or, I mean, roll Nation right out there and see. I mean, it could get – I mean, you might do it for a quarter or a half and be like, all right, Nation, never mind. We'll go back to Brown. But you don't know till it happens, man. Oh, we got a hater in the building. Look at there. Wow. Cowgirls, so original, Kobe. Kelly almost called you Kelly. Kobe. So original, man. But the Cowgirls. Oh, Cowgirls. Saying Cowgirls really doesn't affect us. Y'all should learn that by now. Like, what? Yeah. Okay. What are you, 7, 8?
They tried it, man. We are 2 days away officially from when the NFL fan bases can talk about their own damn team.
There you go. Right.
But here's the part. Nobody's really been saying anything. I mean, granted, Stephen A. had to kind of reach a little bit, but everyone's been like, damn, bro, y'all played a hell of a good game. You should have won. I thought y'all had it. Y'all going to be a lot. I even had Eagles fans text me like, bro, you guys look scary. But like, I'm not, me personally, I'm not buying into it because I know how inconsistent we can be. But I
Yeah.
will say this, having Dak Prescott out there, I feel like he won't allow this. I feel like that's the
Yeah.
good part. Basically, what I saw because no one historically, like I said, we could have beat the Bucs last night and
Yeah.
turn around and lay an egg versus the Chargers,
It's true.
right? But
We've been
but
known
I
to
feel
do it.
like the
That's the
core out
difference.
there, yeah, Dak's the difference right now, and so I think that you're going to see a lot of things transcend, with Dak, but also
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott. People are kind of shooting shots at him. He did what he was asked to do. That's it. Like he couldn't just magically make the ball appear. Now I will say this, and this is not about Zeke or anything. I didn't like that final play call of the game.
Oh yeah, the Bones Jones were. I don't know. We got
Yeah,
this. We got the annexation of Puerto Rico.
yeah.
Obaruski. What? I mean, look. Here's my thing. I like the design. Okay, but I need at least the first pitch to be executed.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
was just
you got
like,
to the point. Where's the pitch though? I'm like,
at least like chunk it downfield and try to get pass interference or
something.
something. And I was
Little
like,
hook and
yeah,
ladder. Yeah, the old school mind
yeah,
was always hook and ladder. Something.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
if they're way back, when how Casey did it. All right, let's hit Lamb underneath with a whole convoy in front of him. Let's see
Right,
what
yeah.
happens.
See if you
You
can
know,
Tyreek Hill it.
yeah, a little something. Another thing that I did like though in the game, that we talked about that we wanted to see more of all during the offseason and preseason. We did get multiple plays of Dak and Pollard in the backfield, or Zeke and Pollard in the backfield,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
which was very nice. I was like, okay, again, there was things from Kellen Moore blossoming. I'm like, wow, we haven't
right.
seen this from Moore. It feels like the offensive play calls feels different now. Obviously, last year he had to be in the show once Dak left. But even whenever
Mhm.
Dak was here, this game plan felt much different than any time that Dak was playing last year. Even
Mhm.
look, I'm loving that. I would love to see more of Pollard and Zeke out there and doing their thing. It gives the defense more things to think about, and that's kind of what I looked at a lot last night. Was we're going to take what you give us, and we're going to try to do things to confuse you somewhat. It was just very refreshing to see how they called this game.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
not the same
I
play
get
they
you,
should be
bro.
doing every week, but to not last
Right,
for last night.
right. And like I said, there are a lot of positives to take away from this game. And the one positive takeaway is what I've been telling a lot of Cowboys fans. We are a lot closer to what we saw last year versus the Rams versus what we saw in the season. And that was a testament of that last night. Like we saw how competitive we can be if everything is intact. So it's like, but now here we start to go. Here's Lyle and here, it's Michael Gallup and who God knows who's going to test positive with COVID. Like just those little things you got to kind of start being aware of. But
Right.
just from a talent standpoint, I feel like we should be in the thick of things, and there's zero excuse with the talent that we have in house. And so it's going to be a fun season. It's just all
Yeah.
right. Got to dust ourselves off
A little bit.
and get ready. I mean,
Get that old Leah. Dust yourself off.
me,
Try again.
literally, I just sat there, y'all, at the stadium after the game, and so security guards like, all right, man, you got to go.
That's all
I just
right.
sat there. I was just sitting there like, all right, bro, like.
Yeah.
I can't because that game that was a fully winnable game, and I feel like we were the best team out there, man. We left it all on the field, and just those little differences made a
The
difference,
inches,
man.
right? The old any given say the inches we need are everywhere around us.
Because I just felt like it was our night when Demarcus Lawrence got that punch out and the fumble, and
Yeah.
then also when
Then right after that discus
Godwin
interception.
when Godwin dropped, I'm like, things are on our side. This is our moment. Like everything is working for us. Here we go, and then not so fast, my friend. And this little
Yes.
push off, and
Yes.
it's like, yeah,
Leave too
rolling
much
on
time on
back.
the field.
Yeah, because I'm like that punch out and that fumble recovery. That was so not Dallas Cowboys, especially in that type of moment. I'm like, it's going to be our game. It's going to be our game. And then we got up, and I looked at the clock, and the guy was like, "You left too much time, bro. You left too much time." I was like, "God damn, he's
Mm.
right."
Yeah, I mean, he
So
wasn't wrong. We've been here, done that. But the one thing's for certain, whether you wanted, no matter if you're a big supporter of Dak or you wasn't, but from the supporter side, even if you wasn't sure how he's going to come back in, to see that and whatnot, it's like, okay. And you look at this defense that the Bucs employ versus even say the Washington football team's defense. I do think it's clear cut that the Cowboys should win the division. Now we talked about this, regular season or whatever, getting into this. I think it's very much so clear cut, and the defense will get better as the season goes along, which is another bright side. I was looking for more from Parsons. Not that Parsons had a bad game. Parsons didn't play a bad game.
Right.
He wasn't but he didn't have any game-wrecking moments that we thought he might have. But he played a decent game, because I know everyone's got this one little clip that they're posting, and like, oh, he's lost. I was like, well, no, not really. He's a whip technique. Yeah, it's a whip technique. He's setting here and peeling back now.
And he did that frequently throughout the game. So I don't know why that was a play that was cherry picked.
Because the pass went to the other side. Now look, here's what I like about that. Here's what I like about that shot, though. They don't show what's behind him on the other side, though. They just show the catch went over there and he built over there because he whipped to this side, but you don't know what's happening.
Nobody has the all 22.
I know it. I do know it, and I hate it. Right. So, so I'm like, okay. I mean, it's a whip route. But again, this is part of what we talked about when we say, hey, man, it comes with a star, right? Because if Parsons played for Miami or whatever, and they went up against the Bucs, it was the same game, identical game, and he played the same game. That highlight never gets showed, and nobody ever says he's lost, ever. It just doesn't happen. But that's part of it. It's something that he'll learn. So,
and I think people are trying to cherry pick Parsons, and I see what's going on online about this whole Slater thing and Parsons. It's like, Cowboys fans, they're never going to be pleased. I was vocal about getting Slater in the draft for the reasons that kind of transpired, but make no doubts about it. Micah Parsons is a huge difference maker on our defense. Even though it didn't, jump off the screen yesterday, you can already see, because I was turning around because there was a lot of, like I said, Bucs fans. Devin White this, Devin White that. I was like, we got ours too. We have ours too. And the speed was a lot different. When they ran the ball, like, no, you're not going to get that on the outside no more. Last year, you would have got that. You're not getting that anymore. And Parsons is that difference maker. And so he's going to be our guy. Let him settle in. Let him get accustomed to NFL. Like, he pretty much went from rookie level to boss level his very first NFL game. You know what I'm saying? Playing a chess matchup next week versus Justin Herbert, a lot different than playing against Tom Brady. And so he should be able to learn from that, build from that, and I feel like he's going to be okay. So
DJ saying Chargers play Washington on Sunday, so we should get a good idea of what those two teams are about. Asks Eckler out with the hamstring. Eckler did practice. He missed the previous two practices. He did practice today, so something to keep an eye on. He practiced today. We'll have to see if he's going to. He might be one of those game time decisions. We'll have to kind of wait and see. I got Marcus Wilson's in the building. What's going on, brother? Eckler is playing. So yeah, Eckler got playing, not playing. He practiced today. We'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely I know for me, it's a must watch for me. I'm definitely going to be watching the Chargers Washington game to get an idea where they're at and what's going on for sure. How long you got? You ready to get out of here? Or you want to keep going?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Okay, all right. All right. So I mean, let's talk about Chargers.
I have to close my tab here in a second, but
okay. I mean, let's talk a little Chargers then.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk a little Chargers. Defensively, we know what they bring to the table with Bosa, right? They got which is funny because our draft could have been their draft, right? Yeah, it could have been Slater. It could have been Slater in the first round. It could have been Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round.
The Chargers listen to Tug.
Right. Obviously, the return of Derwin James on the back end. We know what kind of playmaker he can be. The Chargers have always had a talented squad, right? The biggest thing with the Chargers is it's always injuries with them. Quick question. How many games do you guys think they win between now and the game against Kansas City? So what do we have? Was it 7 or 8 games before KC?
7.
Here, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up real quick. Here's a list. Here's a list real quick of, let's see, Cowboys schedule. Let me pull that up real quick. Cowboys 21 schedule. So we have.
I feel like we should be making a run now.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh man, we got 9 games, bro. Is that right? That can't be right. 1, 2,
November 21st,
4,
is Kansas
5,
City.
6, 7, 8. We have 8 games. I'm sorry, we have 8 games. All right, so Chargers, Eagles, Panthers, Giants, Patriots, Vikings, Broncos, Falcons, and then Chiefs November 21st. They got to stack up wins here. You got what you got 8 games there? 6 and 2? How about 6 and 2? That put us at 6-3.
Right.
You know,
I think that's fair.
They could get hot. I mean, they could get hot. Go 7-1.
Well, let me ask you this, bro. Do you
Yeah.
think that I called Dak Stafford last night as much as he was freaking throwing the ball? Do you think that's going to be our new identity, or do you think it's going to be based on a game-to-game basis?
That's
pretty much throwing 30 plus 40 times a game.
That's man. I mean, that's a great question. That's a wonderful. That's the $100 million question.
Right.
Which is great for us going into the Chargers because they have tape on us per se. But what's it going to be? Here's what I'd like to hope. Right. Here's what I would like to hope. I hope that it's fluid. It's hey, whatever we can attack in their weak at, let's go attack it. And let's do it that way. So, if we get against the Chargers and we're peeling off 5, 6, 7, 20, 5, 6, 7, 10, runs, well, just keep feeding it. Just keep on going and doing what you're doing. Don't peel off of it all of a sudden, right? Let's stick to it. And I would hope it to be that way. But Kellen Moore got a 3-year deal. And this is where fans don't like to talk. But look, we try to be honest, right, when we talk about these things. Kellen could have went to Boise State and been, touchdown Jesus, if you will, football god. He played there. He took a 3-year deal to stay here. If he's doing it, he wants to go become a head coach. So that's one side. Well, passing's going to help him, right? Because look what I can. If I have a quarterback, here's what I can do with that quarterback, so on and so forth. But also wins help as well too. So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks and how he approaches things. I mean, and Marcus says the 2011 Packers playbook. I mean, with a college flair to it, a lot of Boise State flair to it, if you will.
Right.
So I am very intrigued. Like again, looking at what happened last night, I thought it was a great game plan last night. But Jay Tucker, we get to a game, right? And we've seen this from Cowboys before, and we get to the first half, and let's say we're up, 21-17 we're up. And, man, we got about 80 to 100 yards rushing no matter how we get there. We've seen the Cowboys go away from it when it's working and to our detriment. And that's where I have to see where Kellen Moore is going to be. I like to think he's being like water. Shout out to my guy, Bruce Lee, R.I.P. Be like water, my friend. If it goes in the glass, it's in the glass. If it goes in the bowl, it's in the bowl. And that's what it's going to be. But we also know Dak's a made man. And he has the freedom to make those calls at the line now. Sometimes he did call to a run at points, even though we only ran the ball about 18 times. But at other times, he was checking out of runs at times too. So there's that. Well, what do you? I mean, but I'll flip it to you. What do you think Kellen Moore's going to be this year?
Well, I'll say this first, man. I apologize. I lied because I got like 5 minutes left because my phone's about to die.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'll say this: it's like everything that you said that what scares me. Because if Kellen Moore is looking to build an offensive resume, last night, that was a huge stamp on your resume. And so I feel like what can really happen is, say, for instance, we try to run the ball versus the Chargers. Bosa gets a few tackles on Zeke. It's going to be easier now for Kellen Moore to be like, all right, let's air it out, and put on a show. Everyone was excited last night. Look how the media is talking about it. Like, sells lots of tickets, get people excited. I feel like now it's going to be a lot more easier for them not to commit to the run game, which really comes down to the conversation is, where does Zeke really fit? Granted, he did a great job.
We walked away from what was working under Garrett. What worked?
What was working? What worked?
Two playoff wins in 9 years.
Yeah,
I'm not going to buy that. Let me flip the question a little bit differently. Do you take the ball? We talked about those 3 guys, right? Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Pat Mahomes. Do you tell them not to throw the ball? They need to turn around and hand it off?
No.
So
that's the thing. That's where we're at. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not trying to hear that. And I'm not trying to hear that about Dak at this point. I think the biggest thing is there was, Dak threw the ball 50 times. You can't win that way. Tom Brady threw it 50, man.
Right. They did.
And they ran the ball less than us. And they won.
I think the difference is that what we paid for it. I think that's the difference. None of them really have that caliber of running back. Because if you even go back to the Super Bowl and the Chiefs won, they won with their running back in the Super Bowl.
Fair. But Aaron Jones is a damn good running back up there in
But
Green
that's what I'm
Bay.
saying, yeah, and Aaron Jones is as well. So that's the thing. Is like, and they lean on Aaron Jones, just not
Mhm.
as much. And so, but
Mhm.
it comes down to Aaron Jones is your typical just ground and pound type running back, and so that's where I'm having the conversations. Like,
Right,
does Zeke
right.
really fit what the Cowboys are trying to do
Wanna do.
moving forward under the Dak era? I mean, because
Right.
honestly, if I'm looking at just taking everything out from a clear eye view, right?
Mhm.
Tony Pollard fits a lot more than Ezekiel Elliott does because you
Okay.
see how they were utilizing him. They were flexing him
Mhm.
out wide as a wide receiver. Then they were motioning him back in as a running. So they were doing a lot more things because you got to respect both. With Ezekiel Elliott, it's like, all right, you can flex him as a wide receiver, but I'm not concerned too much about that like you would with Tony Pollard. And so it's like, what is the mode that they're trying to go into? And they're really going to have to sit down and find out like what works. But I think after seeing last night, you're not going to be able to see what you saw last night and then go back versus the Chargers and be like Dak threw for 22 times or 25 times. Like, it's not going to
Right.
make sense. I mean, I just think now, like you said, Dak is a made man. He's our Mahomes, and so you're really going to put the ball in his hands and let him do what he does best with the wide receiver core. So it's going to be interesting to see how things work with Ezekiel Elliott. I think the days of Zeke getting 25 plus carries. So
Oh,
if you draft
yeah.
him in fantasy football,
I was gonna
sorry.
say, yeah. I was gonna say though. 25 touches, like the 25 carries. He's only done that a handful of times over the past 3 years. But I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Right.
But here's the thing: is that I'll go back to Brady, and this is where it gets scary a little bit because it was going to talk about the money from Zeke all of a sudden. But either way,
Right.
so because they touched his contract, so he's going to be here at least through 23. That's where we're at
Right.
now. Okay, so that idea he's going to be here. But the breakdown was 67 30, or I'm sorry, what 60 63 37. That was the pack. I'm excuse me, not the Packers. That was the Patriot. Dang, I mean, Tom Brady plays for the damn Bucs. The Bucs and Kansas City Chiefs last year, that was basically they were in the same realm, when they got to the Super Bowl. Passing the ball 64% of the time and running the ball 37% of the time. And that's probably what we're going to look at going forward, maybe. Maybe that's what we need to kind of circle and see what's going on. That's probably where we're headed. But we'll have to see. Again, the 30, 40 times a game in a cloud of dust, that's not the new that's where the NFL isn't there. Again, they didn't use Zeke enough, though. I can't stress that enough in the Bucs game. He did a great job blocking, but they didn't get the ball in his hands
Ball in
enough.
his hands. Exactly.
And they have to do that more. And I completely agree, D-Town. He definitely earned his check yesterday. I said that out the gate on Twitter, everything. I completely agree. They do have to get the ball in his hands more because he is a playmaker. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know who now this is gonna be a can of worms. How many games how many games this year do you think Zeke gets 18 carries a game? And
The
see,
traditional carries.
and that gets see now that's going to get scary for a lot of people.
Right. Because looking at what I saw yesterday, it's going to be unless Zeke gets rolling quick. I feel like Kellen Moore. I feel like it's all going to be on Dak right now, and I don't see a game. Maybe once we start to get in the darker days of like December, those type of games, you might see a lot more leaning towards Zeke. But
Yeah,
I don't expect to see a lot from Zeke versus in week 2.
And that's exactly what you said. Zeke's going to eat if we get out quick and we're up by a couple of scores. Then they're going to turn to Zeke and try to start eating that clock. I completely agree there. So I don't know how much, it's not, as I said it on me and Spoon was on earlier, and I said it's not your daddy's league anymore, and by that means we're the daddies now. It's not our league anymore. It's not the 90s and what's going on. Like the league has changed. If you have a capable quarterback
that can do it.
After last night, what we saw, you have a capable quarterback, and not only do you have a capable quarterback, man, the horses are outside, my man, and that's just what it is. I know your phone's about to die, so we'll get up out of here. Man, everybody, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. We would have went longer, but somebody forgot the charger. That's okay. We'll be coming back.
Chargers. There's no outlet out here.
He's like, I got my head on swivel. I don't know where it's at. It's all good, brother. It's all good, brother.
I'm about to go get some recruiting, man. Get some of these Gators.
Go put some. Yeah.
6'4" cornerback, huh?
Yeah, huh? Yeah, man. We're kind of looking at you today. You know, we have a little spot for you. Want to just come on now? We got you. Cut you a little check.
Yeah, I
Just one
got you,
drop
man.
will just pick you up. That's fine.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry.
got you. Yeah, just go
Change
ahead
your
and
name a
drop.
little
I got
bit.
you, bro. Yeah,
No
yeah,
offense
man. But
about it, man. As y'all know, man, y'all can catch me, Stargate Podcast, as always. Y'all can catch that boy Tuck, Cowboy fans only on YouTube. J Tuck 151 on the old Twitter handle. Your guy Nick's on the old Twitter handle. Final words to you, J Tuck, before we get out of here, my man.
Nah, like I said, it was a good game yesterday. Like I said, even though I don't want to set the moral victories, there's a lot of great things to take away. I wish we would have came away with the win, man. But it is what it is. But you got a lot to be excited about, Cowboys fans. The things kind of hold up from what we saw yesterday. I think it's going to be an exciting season. So as long as we got 4 out there, we're going to be competitive. And no, I'm not hitting the 151, Joe. So definitely not, man. But I feel like the Cowboys, they fought, they played hard yesterday. And, ultimately didn't end up with a victory. But I'm excited about this season, man. So J Tuck 151, Cowboys fans only, and CowboysFansOnly.com.
Bada bing, bada boom. 151 just on the Twitter handle. No shots. Got it.
Yeah, no shots. Not at all. Not at all.
All right, hey man. And of course, it's always important when you hit that sub button, whether it's Cowboys fans only, whether it's Stargate Podcast on YouTube, hit that notification bell because you never know when we're going to go on. If you even follow us on Facebook, make sure you hit that notification bell. You can catch us over there as well too. So we appreciate all the support as always. Week 1 in the books. Don't worry, we'll be here delivering this content all year, man. Make sure y'all rock with us. We appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. And Sunday will be easy. How about this? Sunday's going to be easy. The Cowboys aren't playing.
Yeah,
We just kick back, watch
no
everybody else
Cowboys
stress,
football.
right?
Yeah, kick back and watch everyone else lose. We can troll them and their shows and stuff.
Yeah, that part. Y'all have a great night.